Oh, Zion, who brings good news. Get up into the high mountain, oh Jerusalem, who brings good news. Lift up your voice in strength.
Welcome to our program, Messiah. My name is Letty Levy, and today we have a brother who has been in our program before. He is from Botswana, and he's very dear to us here in the studio. So I would like to introduce to you Moses. Moses, how are you?
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming to visit with us and being in our program.
I appreciate
And what is your last name, Moses?
it. My last name is McGeoff.
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 Oh, okay. Well, again, thank you for accepting our invitation.
You're
But
welcome.
as we were sharing before we started the program, God used you as an evangelist. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
So I assume you started in Botswana?
Yeah, started in Botswana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we would like to share today how prayer affects your ministry, how prayer is so important, especially in this time and age.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you, your ministry, and how prayer has been helping you to have breakthroughs.
Sure. I was born again. I became a Christian when I was very young. I was 15 years of age in high school. And I just, to give you a little background, I was invited to this Christian meeting in school by some friends, and that's where I heard the gospel for the first time. And I believed, and I was saved that night. And from that very time, I knew that night that God had called me to be a preacher, specifically to be an evangelist. And so I started off knowing exactly what God wanted me to do, but I did not know how to do what God wanted me to do.
Right. You
And
just
so-
have like that flame, that desire,
Yeah,
yet no knowledge of how to do it.
yeah, I had the desire and I felt the calling, but I didn't know how.
Right.
And so that's how prayer comes in, because there is no way of getting deeper into the understanding of the things of God without spending time in prayer, seeking God.
Absolutely.
Before you can speak to men about God, you must speak to God about men. So I learned that very early in my Christian life, and that if God is going to use anyone for anything, He's first going to use him to pray.
That is so true. And the reason I wanted us to share this with you is because here in America, sadly to say, we're used to speed food, speed internet, everything fast. And you got all these fantastic speakers in church, but they lack the most important part, which is prayer. They might say a quick little prayer here and there, but to me is you cannot give what you don't have. And how can you give of God if you're going to spend quality time with Him?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You can't give what you don't have. I think that's a powerful statement. If you're going to give anything, you must have something. And you cannot have something, or you can't have anything, if you are not receiving it from God.
Exactly.
Because God is the only giver of life.
Yes.
And we are called to be ministers of life. When we preach the gospel, we're not just communicating information. We are transmitting the very life of God in the words that we speak.
Oh, yes.
Jesus said this, the words I speak are spirit and they are life.
Yes.
So we speak life. So we cannot make up life. We must receive it from God, who is the giver of that very life, through His Spirit. And it flows through us. Out of His belly, Jesus said, will flow rivers of living water.
Absolutely.
So this life flows through us in the words we speak, in the things we do as ministry to people. And unless we are filled to overflowing with this life, we will be incapable to transmit it to anyone. And we will fall short of the expectations of ministry.
Absolutely.
that God expects us to go to. And so prayer it's a must. It's not if,
Right.
if we have time. No, it's a must. We must start first praying. We must be used by God to pray, and in prayer, then we are sure that we can successfully be used by God and fruitfully be used by God on the pulpit in front of people.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And as you know, for those of you who are watching, there are different types of prayers, right?
Yeah.
There is intercessory prayer.
Yes.
There is when you are just praising and worship out of your mouth, coming adoration for the Lord. There is also warfare style of prayer, right?
Yeah.
So there's different kinds of prayer, right? What would be your definition of prayer in a simple ways for those who don't know?
Yeah. This is the way I define prayer, very simply. It's a communication, two-way communication between God and man.
Right.
Or women.
Right.
Yeah.
So in other words, you speak to him like you speak to your best friend.
And he also speaks to you.
Absolutely.
It's not just us talking to him. It's also him talking to us.
And you touch a very important point. It's not just us, flapping our little mouth here talking to God. How would you tell people out there how he communicates with you so they can understand? How do you know he's talking back to you?
How do I know that God is talking? That's a very interesting question that I get asked all the time. And I remember in the Bible when Saul of Tarsus was on riding his donkey to go capture and kill Christians.
Yes.
And he was struck from his donkey and he fell down. And I like what he said. He heard a voice speak to him and saying, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? And he said, who is speaking, Lord? Instantly, Saul knew this was the voice of God. So there's something very distinct about God speaking.
That's very true.
To you. There's something life-giving. There's something about God that is so unique and cannot be confused with anything.
Yes, because as you mentioned that Yeshua or Jesus, Yeshua, his Hebrew name, he said, my sheep hear my voice, and they recognize. But they also know when it's not his voice.
It says the voice of a stranger they will not follow.
Yes.
They will not follow. So you see, when we receive Jesus or Yeshua in our hearts, his spirit comes in us, into our heart, right? And we can recognize him when he speaks to us. We are his sheep. We are the sheep of his pastures.
That's so true.
And he says, my sheep know my voice. So it's like a little child. I have an 11-month-old daughter.
Oh, beautiful.
And she knows my voice. When I'm speaking outside, she just gets excited.
Oh.
And so being the children of God, we got to know his voice. And I want to tell you something, lady, that the voice of God is ever speaking in the prayer closet. God has more to speak to us than we have to speak to him.
That's true.
Yeah, and that's why in prayer you don't speak all the time, you listen. Also,
that's precisely where I was leading to, because a lot of times, as I was saying at the beginning, we talk too much.
Yeah.
And I believe we as believers, it's extremely important, perhaps more important than the uttering noise, to listen.
Yes.
And to hear, like the book of Revelation says, those who have ears hear what the Spirit of God is speaking. In Israel, they say there's a prayer that says, Shema Israel. It's like, listen, Israel, but beyond your ears. It's something that you listen with your heart, with your understanding.
With your spiritual ears.
Yes. What the Spirit is speaking to us, right?
Yeah. You're touching something very important, which I want our listeners to get really well here, that there are so many things that are competing for your audience.